Now, I don't want to say that everything is completely fixed. Like, okay, the Montreal Canadiens have it all put together. They have it all figured out. Now everything is perfect. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that based off of the information that we have received and based off of the things that people are saying in the Montreal Canadiens organization, maybe, just maybe, that second line center hole isn't really that big as we thought. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are diving into the second line C to B for St. Louis and his squad. It is none other than former third overall pick Kirby Dach, and how everything has seemingly shaped up for him over the past few months. If you're enjoying this content, then hey, feel free to leave your ratings and comments in the comment section below to get the conversation going. How did you feel about Kirby Dach heading into the NHL offseason? And as this conversation continues, I want you to let me know if your thoughts end up changing a little bit, or if you were always kind of optimistic, or if you're still a little bit pessimistic by the time this video is complete. But Kirby Dach is a really interesting name in the Canadiens organization because even though he was supposed to be second line C, even though that was his role, the fact is, Canadiens fans just could not fully be comfortable with it. The guy has played 58, 2, and 57 games in the past 3 seasons worth of play for the Montreal Canadiens. 2 years ago, it was like, okay, the guy got hurt, and he missed out on the whole season, so in 24-25, he's gonna come back and he's gonna look great, right? Well, he didn't really. There were some moments in there where he showed off some numbers, but for the most part, Kirby Dach was not all too fantastic in 24-25. And then he got hurt again in February, and that was that. He didn't finish the season, he didn't play. But now, we're in a spot where, after months and months of recovery and, as we are soon to find out, summer training, it seems like everything has changed for the Montreal Canadiens and for Kirby Dach himself. Let's head over to a post made on sportsnet.ca by Eric Engels yesterday evening that talks about how Montreal Canadiens forward Kirby Dach is emerging from his second knee injury, poised to be an impact player. Now, I just want to say this before we dive into it. Yeah, I always kind of get a kick out of the fact that Kirby Dach was a third overall guy, and for some reason, third overall guys just don't really seem to do all too well in Montreal, even if they're supposed to be a lot better than they were. I'm thinking about Drouin, Galchenyuk, Kotkaniemi, now Dach. I mean, the amount of third overall guys that find themselves with the Habs is kind of astounding when you think about it. Heck, even second overall guys. They got Patty Laine right now. Anyways, this article by Eric Engels, which will be linked in the description, dives into the Kirby Dach timeline, his injuries in October of 2023, and then his February injury in 2025. The article highlights how Kirby Dach's injury happened in the February 22nd game against the Senators. I just remember going to put my foot down after the hit and thinking, you gotta be kidding me. I was talking to the Canadiens head trainer Jim Ramsey. I came back to the bench, I looked at him, and I said, it just happened again. He was like, no, it didn't. I was like, yeah, it did. 6 days later, Dach would once again go under the knife. He ended up confirming that he tore his reconstructed ACL in that collision behind the Canadiens' net. Now, instead of wallowing in the injury, Dach resolved to make this experience different from the last one. You learn from your mistakes, the now 24-year-old said. You learn what went good for you in rehab and what your body didn't respond well to. For the first 2-3 weeks after the immobilization of the knee, it's a lot of just trying to bend the leg, extend the leg, get to full extension, get your range of motion back, slowly start to lose the crutches and begin to walk. It's not like you're relearning how to walk, but it's different. You're trying to get rid of the limp and trying to even both sides out again. 8 to 14 weeks is where it's weird because you feel like you can do a lot more, but you can't because that's technically when it's at its weakest. Everything is fusing, so you have to be careful not to push it too far. It's really frustrating because you feel like I can do more, I want to do more, but you just physically can't because it'll destroy your knee. You have to take it easy from weeks 8 to 14 and realize that less is more, and I don't think I really understood that the first time. Now, the article then dives into Dach's recovery from last time and how he didn't really know this stuff because he was just kind of adjusting to everything on the fly. But now in 2025, because it was technically the second time he had to go through this sort of recovery, he was a lot more present and a lot more mindful of the decisions he would make. I was more patient with the rehab, Dach said. Once you get past 14 weeks, you're able to do some jumping and light running and more strength training and single leg isolated work. I think I had surgery February 28. I was home mid-May, end of May. I can't count those months in my head right now, but when I got home, I was able to transition straight into training and building strength. Now, speaking about that strength, there's a comment made by Caden Gooley on Kirby Dach, and I want you, and I'll be clear here, I don't really advocate for heavy drinking, but I want you to take a shot every time Caden Gooley mentions summer when speaking about Kirby Dach. He looks really good. I'm happy for him. He had a really good summer. We trained together in the summer, skated together in the summer. He was dialed in all summer. He was doing what he had to do. I hope he has a great start. I expect him to have a great start for what he's done and how he's looked all summer. I'm proud of him. I think he saw just how hard it is. He would come into the gym some days and he'd feel like crap, like a lot of us do. And you just saddle up. You go to work. That's just how it is. No excuses. I think, again, he did a really good job of that this summer. Some days I feel run down. You have a hard couple of days. Some days he'd be at the gym 3-4 hours working out. Some days he'd be at the gym so long he'd be working out with the 12-year-olds. So he was putting in work this summer. I'm proud of him. He had a great summer. He looks really good on the ice. So, how many was that? 7 or 8? I don't know. Caden Gooley really emphasizing in his interview that Kirby Dach had a great summer. And, yeah, no, I'm feeling like Tom from 500 Days of Summer. I kind of want to get out of that. When's autumn coming over, folks? By the way, Tom was the bad guy in that villain. I will 100% stand by that. They were both flawed characters. Anyways, go back over to the article here. Dach also talks about his long days in the summer when he was at the gym, 3.5 hours. It was an hour and a half of rehab, then a workout, then a lower body workout, into cardio, into doing everything he could at the gym because he wasn't skating for a little bit. And inevitably, things started to work themselves out. We'll skip over some of the extra recovery stuff and then just dive into Kirby Dach talking about the capability he has on the ice. I watch games of myself from 5 years ago, 4 years ago, and last year. I went through the whole Rolodex of games that I've played over my career and just centered myself a little bit. I looked back throughout my career and figured the mindset I had when I was in junior was when I was at my best. It's tough to describe it to keep it politically correct, but it was a very FU mindset in junior. Like, I want to be here the shortest amount of time I can be here and get to the next step. And I think you get to that next step and realize there's no other next step to get to. But there's levels to being in the NHL, and I realized in my mind that I wanted to be an elite player in this league, and I know I can be. I feel like I have that FU mindset when I'm at my best. Certain guys are different, where if they get too angry, they lose it. Cough, cough, JT Miller. And if they're happy, then they feel really good. I feel like I'm at my best when I can find that FU mentality while also enjoying it, where it's not overtaking me. And heading into this season, Dach has some really good words to say about his two upcoming line mates. I think as a center on any line, you're kind of dictating the way the line's going to play. Obviously, with Patrick Laine and Ivan Demidov, that's a lot of talent, a lot of skill. I think we've got everything we need to produce offensively and put up points. But I think we've got to bear down and be responsible defensively. I want Marty to be able to trust me enough to put me out there at the end of games where we need to win a face-off or to shut somebody down. I want to be able to take pride in doing that and look across at my matchup knowing I got the better of him at the end of the night. So folks, is it just me, or does Kirby Dach sound like the most confident he has been, and hopefully plays like it too? But my question to you is, do you buy it? Is it going to take a while? Or are you slowly starting to get excited for it and allow yourself to feel that excitement? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. If you had any sort of enjoyment out of this video, feel free to like and leave a comment as well. It helps out the algorithm for this YouTube channel. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.